In this program, we are writing a simple program to illustrate how the increment and decrement operators work. So I've got my basic structure of a program up there. I've got a comment, an include statement, using namespace standard, and then I have my main function. So I'm going to add some lines to my main function. So I'm going to declare two integers, first num and second num. And I'm going to give them a starting value. So I'm going to initialize them. Sometimes we do this by getting values from the user, but I am just going to give them values directly here in the code. So I'm going to make first num equal to 2 and second num equal to 5. And then I want to display these initial values. So I'm using cout, and I'm going to say first num. Actually, I'll put a title that just says initial values and a new line. And we have first num first num. So remember, this is the actual word first num with a colon and a space that's going to be printed out. This is the variable first num, and it's going to print out the value of 2, which is what is stored in that variable right now. And this is second num, and we need the variable second num. And a couple of end lines, because I'm going to put some other things after this. Okay, there we go. So let's test that to make sure that works. And I once again forgot my system pause, so my window did not stay open. We'll try that again. Okay, so that was simple enough. If we look, we have the initial values. First num is 2, second num is 5. I don't really like them being on the same line like that, so I'm going to fix that. But we know that the program has worked to put 2 into first num and 5 into second num. So I'm just going to add an endl here and then just test that quickly. Okay, and that worked great, and we have our initial values. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the increment operator. So I can use the increment operator in two ways. If I'm just using it with a single variable, not in an equation, it is just going to increase that variable by 1. So I could say first num plus plus. And then I want to print that out. So let's copy these lines. And I'm going to call this the increment results. And we'll see what first num is. And we should see the value of first num go up by 1, so it should be 3. And we do. So we see initially first num was 2. After adding 1 to first num by saying first num plus plus, the value is now 3. So it adds 1 to whatever the previous value of first num is. Where the increment operator gets interesting is if we use it in an equation. So if I say second num is going to be equal to first name or first num plus plus, let's look at the new values that we get in first and second num. Okay, so when we look at this, first num starts out as 2, second num is 5. After this statement, second num equals first num plus plus, first num has gone up to 3, but second num has been set equal to 2. And the reason for that is because the plus plus is at the end, the computer is going to do this part first and say second num equals first num. And it's going to stop there. So it's going to say second num is equal to the old value of first num, which is 2. And we can see in our output that that is true. Second num gets set to 2. Then the computer is going to go back and increase first num by 1. So when you see the plus plus at the end, it means that the equal sign part is evaluated first, then this first num is incremented. So that's why first num went up to 3, but that happened after we set second num equal to the old value of first num, which is 2. If we want the number to be incremented first, and then second num to be equal to that number, we have to put the plus plus at the beginning. So now when I run it, see the difference. Now we can see that first num is incremented and goes up to 3, then second num is set equal to first num, which is now 3. Okay, so if you see the plus plus at the beginning, you know that the incrementing happens first, then second num is equal to whatever that new number is. Okay, we could also use a decrement operator, which is similar but makes the number go down by 1. And as you can see in the results here, first num is decreased by 1, and then second num is equal to the value of first num.